Hey everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Panashe Kimberley and you're watching Simple Conversations with me, Panashe Kimberley. I am somewhere out here in the world and I'm just enjoying myself a lovely little drink, cooling down. Remember, this podcast is not about staying indoors. Neither is it about being in a studio. We can be anywhere, we can do anything, and we can still talk and have a simple conversation like normal human beings. But yeah, welcome back. And today, I know I promised I was gonna have a guest, but there was still some other systems I needed to fix, and I was just trying to make sure that everything is in order. So I will have my next guest next Wednesday. However, that doesn't mean that the conversation we're having today is a boring one. I decided to ask you guys a question, and to my surprise, people did not want to send me their voice notes because so I appreciate, and I do not penalize anybody who wanted to remain anonymous but was afraid that their voice was going to be recognized. That's absolutely understandable. But I do hope that in other conversations that do not require sensitive information like this, people will still reach out with their voice notes and send them to me and still type their stories because I do love telling people stories in my own. And yeah, a lot of people did still type their stories. So I want to thank you for that. And we're going to be reading those stories and just discussing what's going on in the world at the moment. This is a conversation about friendship. I remember last week somebody asked me and said, "Hey, Panashe, how did getting married change your relationship with friends, like friendship? How did your friendships change after getting married?" And I had a lot to say, and I said, you know what, this requires an entire conversation on its own. And here I am with this conversation because I feel like it's something that definitely suits the types of conversations we have here at Simple Conversations. And if you're new to this channel, every Wednesday we've got something lovely coming up, so you will love it here. Please leave a subscribe. I am on my journey to 10,000 followers. My eye. Oh wow, my eye. My eye. I'm on my journey to 10,000 subscribers. So if you're here and you're new, please subscribe. You're going to love it here. And yeah, let's dive right into it. So I'm going to be talking about friendships that had to end. And, sometimes it doesn't end with a bang. It's sometimes just a silent ending of a friendship when somebody realizes, you know what, this is not going to work. You know what, this is not for me. Those are the types of endings that I'm going to talk about. But you know what? Funny story. When I was a kid, I have a very wishy-washy relationship when it comes to friends. Ever since I was young, and my first story about having to break up with a friend was in primary school. Actually, when you know how primary when someone had a birthday, they would be like, parents must bring the cake, or some parents would volunteer to bring cake and snacks, and then at the end of the day or at break time, people would sing happy birthday for the birthday person, and then the person who is your best friend, and then the birthday person would then choose their best friend. So I had a best friend who was supposed to choose me, and they didn't choose me. Because musi wacho ndandikatogara pakona pecheya ndakamirira kuti ndizopiwa zikeke, and then this best friend of mine picked a different person. But who is your best friend? This was grade 6. I know it's petty to be bringing it up now, but it applies to the conversation, okay? So bear with me. But yeah, who is your best friend? And I was just left there heartbroken. Why? What happened? No, taita diri rekuti inini pandinoita birthday rangu. Ndompa zikeke, and then iye paachaita birthday rake ozondipawo zikeke rake. I'm like, well, we could have done that, but you know what, never mind. But you see how even at a young age friendships tend to be tricky. And that was my first friendship heartbreak. And then as I grew older, high school, I used to have a bunch of friends, and then one of them changed classes, and then friendship yacho mbeyatopera. Imwe yacho yakangopera like nekuti tandapedza form 4 and we went to different schools. All my high school friends, my friendships edu are like we talk here and there, and mostly it's mostly a me problem because I'm the one who kind of is quiet. Ndinonyarara a lot, and that's my weakness in friendship. But I believe that, you know what, ndikasangana newe mangwana ndosangana newe next year, I feel like we should just kick it off. I know next year is an overstatement, but you understand, Kuti. For me, it's not like constant communication. It's the bond that we have. Yaguti, no matter what life brings us, yo, panika me, open up. But anyway, no matter what life brings us, it doesn't matter. You know, our friendship remains the same. Like our bond into yo, because you're not my spouse, ka. You can't then be in my day every. Oh, this is my opinion, by the way. You can't be in my life every single day. Like I don't need to check up on you every single day as if you are my spouse or my boyfriend. No, patasangana ipapo, patrukanza taura ipapo ngataure. And then, well, that's just part of my philosophy when it comes to friendship. So I actually got into a bit of a shuffle with one of my friends, current friends, and she's saying kuti no, you unobva wanyararisa ndikaza kutsvaga unditsvage. And I said no, ndinokutsvaga wani kana zvinhu zvangu zvichifamba, or when I have time I look for you. But she wasn't having it, and you know, it was basically differences in maonera tunoita how to be friends. So well, including her and other friends, I've decided to be more intentional with how I treat my friendships. And I have basically 3 friends, female friends in this world. And that's it. I'm not a big friend circle person. And vamwe say Sisi, Budi, whatever. So I'm really that kind of a person. I can't handle so many friends. And at the same time, I'm intentionally maintaining and watering my relationships, my friendships, and now. So yeah, one of my friendships, my last one, another friend, like a close friend I had to break up with her because I had broken up with my boyfriend, and her boyfriend now thought that ndichamdzidza kuda vakomana. So, like, because ndinenda Africa, I was now single and mingling. Zvikanzi uyo usasatambe naye because achakudzidzisa kuita zvakomana. And I was flabbergasted. So there's so many reasons why friendships end, and I have so many stories here to share. So let me just get right into it, and we can just listen to some people's experiences. And in the comment section, please tell me your wildest friend story, or even how do you? I think my question to everybody would be, how do you know that it's time to let go of a friendship? Because kune vanhu vakawanda vakabatirira mafriendships avo, or who are still in these friendships because of loyalty, but it's not really working for you. So I don't know. I have some stories to read, so let me read a few stories. Yeah. So the first story I have to share is a lovely lady here. I love you so much. You're gonna hear your story and know I love you so much. This lady says, I was down and out, but no one except those closest to me knew, as I had Risleso. So basically, she didn't look like her problems. I had my wigs and my nice clothes. When I was at my lowest, and then my friend at the time was like, so each time I would post, she would comment, her friend, a certain friend would comment, fake life dai vanhu vaiziva kuti hauna kana cent vasingapiwe pressure. Ishamwari yako iri kuti wapostawo good moment nyange uri down wobva wapostawo good moment, and then she says dai vanhu vaiziva kuti zviri kuitika kuseri uko dai vasingapiwe pressure. At one point we were on a video call ndichiitwa installation, and she literally said, naiwe hairdresser, uri kunetsekereiko nekuinstalleswa masaga aya mumusoro. I was so heartbroken. Then I said to myself, this girl will never have access to me again. I needed a friend, Ipapo. Uku financially, I was down, and finding out things like your husband was cheating and your friend is jokingly mocking you at every chance that she got. We never fought, but I just said enough is enough. So, yeah, there's sometimes a time when you realize that this friendship is not a good friendship because maonero yenyu anotosiyana, malimits anotosiyana. That's a bit deep. It's yeah, no. Even for me, I would have broken up with her too, silently. But you see, my friendships, akawanda in adulthood, you don't need to fight to break off my friendships. And you have to come to a point where you're honest with yourself to realize, but you know what, guys, this is not working. Whether you want to have the conversation with, you know what, I'm going to distance myself from you, or whether you just stop the relationship is up to you. But at the end of the day, as adults, we need to come to the tofana kumira kuzvinyebera kuti friendship iri kunakidza or iri kufamba or it works for you when it really isn't working. Okay. Next person says, I had a really close friend, inner circle, ride or die, sister even, part of the family. We were friends for close to 7 years at this point. I had an ex. We had dated for close to 2 to 3 years, I think, so it was pretty serious. Then we broke up, and after I did some growing up, oh, sorry. Then we broke up after I did some growing up and realized it wasn't the relationship I needed. Few months later, my bestie asked if they could date. Her and her ex could date. And that she had had a crush on him for the longest time. And it's just that we got together, so they never happened. So basically, bestie is saying, ndokumbira kudanana nemunhu naex wako ndane time ndine crush naye but hapana zvandaikwanisa kuita because mamuchidanana. Yeah. Yeah, okay. That was when I learned that friendships also go through breakups and it's okay to let them go. We just grew apart after that. I also learned that friendships are seasonal and it's one to let go once the friendship ends. So it's okay to let go of a friendship when the friendship ends. Ew. Yeah, no. Also for me, no. You can't date my ex as my friend, as my best friend, as my sister. 7 years is not a joke, guys. And then you say you had a crush on my boyfriend for the longest. No, no, no. But you see what I mean. Friendships, yeah. I'd love to have a part two of this. I feel like there will be a flood of comments that I would like to respond to in a part two. Anyway, next story. Hey, Mama. So I'm a response to question one. I decided to let go of a friend after realizing that I kept pouring and I wasn't being poured into. Okay, so with this particular friend, I always showed up for her, like always. Be it lunch, drinks, shows, I would show up, and most importantly, even for her family, I always showed up because I considered them my own too. When it came to me now, she always stood me up. We would have a plan for something together, or we would plan something together, and she would literally cancel on me on the very day. Whew. What then triggered me the most was when we spent 3 months planning my birthday, but she never showed up on the day. Her phone was off. I let that go, and she promised to make it up to me on the day. So this girl didn't show up on her birthday, and then promised the next day to make it up to her. And then she goes on to say that on the day she was supposed to make it up to her, she then went MIA. I then reflected on our friendship and realized that she had never visited me at my place or met my parents and didn't even know any of my siblings by name. That's when I decided to let go because it made me realize that this was a one-sided friendship and I couldn't be friends with someone like that. So, yeah. I think this is also very important to realize that your friendship currently is not pouring into you. It's a two-way street. Like I was saying earlier, my friend would say, "You don't talk to me. You don't what," but it really is a two-way street, and this is what I had to change about my friendship style. Kuti, when I pour into you, you pour into me. When you pour into me, I pour into you. It has to be intentional. It has to, like any other relationship, it has to work. It has to be, balanced. So it's quite interesting to realize, Kuti, it's actually a thing and it exists. Actually, it's okay to admit kuti shamwari yangu ita pour into me the same way I pour into them. You are not in agreement, but my levels ekudanana, right? As friends, I'm mostly on the same level. You're not on the same wavelength, and it's okay to pull away before something bad happens or whatever. So yeah, moving on to the next story. Now this one is pretty long, so pretty juicy also, but bear with me. We are gonna read through it. She says, if I send a voice note, they will know it's me. Okay. So in future, for sensitive stories, I'll just ask people to type. But if you still feel like sending a voice note, please, it's okay. Do send a voice note. I never confronted them about their betrayal, but I'm still going to share my experience. When we were still in uni, I met my friend and it quickly became a sisterhood. Now I know that the friendship was that good because she felt she was better than me. Wow. Okay. That's a revelation. Having a friend who feels they are better than you. Okay. This is her in hindsight realizing that this girl thought she was better than her. Okay, cool. She was very envious and competitive. Anyway, so we were having our fair share of mojolo back then as young girls, I suppose. And in fact, when we met, I was actually single. Okay. I think I need to start this again because I think I've chopped it up a bit. So let me start again. When we were still in uni, I met my friend and it quickly became a sisterhood. Now I know that the friendship was that good because she felt she was better than me. She was very envious and competitive. Anyway, so when we were having our fair share, we were having our fair share of Mujolo back then. In fact, when we met, I was actually single. She had a boyfriend at the time, and I was happy for her. He would buy her data, send gifts, chocolates, and stuff, and I was always the ambulance, always wowing. Oh, wow, 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 wow. I was the ambulance, always wowing and hyping my friend and telling her how she was loved and all. Next, God blessed her with a car. Girl, I was so happy for her because now we got to drive on campus. You see, I'm saying we because I thought her blessing was my blessing as well. Because you're friends. Sha, we even split petrol money. Anyway, fast forward. This guy started being a jerk and he became toxic. But I would be her shoulder to cry on and I would comfort her. It so happened that I also got a boyfriend who, by God's grace, is my husband now. Sha mjolo wangu waifaya. He would buy me things and I would think of my friend Kapaye ndichingo mi gilao some things like siro waimbosheo rage now ndakusheo rangu. Okay. And my man sometimes would give me his car to drive, which was nicer than her car. But listen, it wasn't even about how nice the car was. It was why I am now also driving. I'm supposed to be Pamada seat always. Okay. That's when it all began. The jealousy, the toxicity, my way, ndakapotsa ndafa. It's funny now, but I was so heartbroken then. Kosha, Rasha Dapapi, when your mujolo pa Wi-Fi, I clapped for you. I have a man who loves me now. You are giving me the silent treatment. Anyway, I won't get into much detail, but jealousy got the most of her, and I was so depressed that I even told my mom, thinking maybe something else was wrong. Even my mom vakatorwadziwo because vaitomono semwana wavo. She betrayed me, she betrayed our sisterhood. I had to withdraw a lot and starve the relationship. When she realized my relationship with my boyfriend was that serious, she started coming back. She wanted to be all nice again, but the damage had already been done. Now I'm happily married. I don't want her near my family. My husband knows everything. I never confronted her about this. I just say I now have a lot of responsibilities as a wife and mom to avoid her. Oh, okay. When I see other people with their besties, I'm reminded of the friendship that I once had. I always tell my husband that I now want a white friend. Okay. You now want a white friend. Naimi, shinozive. Betrayal knows no race. But anyway, I do believe that there are some nice people out there that can make really good friends. And that's true. That's very true. You will find, I pray that you find your best friend. Make it a prayer, and I know God will answer that. But anyway, I do believe that there are some nice people out there that can make really good friends. Those that have, those that do have such Okay. Those that do have such kind people who are loving and loyal must value them. But as for me, my husband is my bestie. Whew. Okay. So I really would have loved to know what exactly she did, because you said she betrayed you. But nonetheless, um, I appreciate your story, and it's true. Sometimes there's that friend that wants to be better than you always, that wants to achieve, that sees you as a gauge. Yekuti mntu akakunda iwewe ari kugona mu life. And if on one side it means kuti iwewe wacho you're doing well for yourself, or you have something about you that sets, like, your standards are really good, maybe, and this person sees you as the bar to surpass. That's how I would see it. But at the same time, friendship is not about competition. Like I said, it's supposed to be an equilibrium, and you pour into her, she pours into you. And yeah, that's how friendship should be. Adult friendships are actually a thing that must be discussed and analyzed, because we are going through the most out there with our friendships. I've heard so many betrayals Noitika, based zvinenge zvakonzerwa neshamwari yako, you tell your best friend nyaya yakadai, and then they go and tell your husband, or they go and tell your boyfriend. You tell your friend your problems, then they go and tell the world, and all of those things. That is a corner of life that we, as we are growing up, must look into, and within ourselves be very genuine. Kuti ii shamwari yangu, is it a good friend? I remember last time I spoke about listening to Toke Makinwa, and she was talking about how somebody advised her to compartmentalize her friends, and I'm going to take that advice and paste it here. Please, if you're the certain type of person that has got many friends, isa category: fan, prayer, intercessor, what's the word, mjolo, whatever, category, mafaro, isa friends ako category. Woza kuti friend ye mafaro aiudzwe life's problems. My life's problems are not ride or die chete. And just if you do that with your friendships, you'll never go wrong. And most importantly, it is okay to let go of a friendship if you feel like you need to. Or if you feel like you need to talk it out, then you should talk it out. But at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is, let's have healthy friendships out there. We have so many things happening in our worlds for us to be adding friendships as a stress. Make sure that all the friends that you have are friends that add value to you, friends that you can also add value to, and yeah, there's no reason to live a life of problems. Anyway, chikafu changu chauya, so ndaku chikafu changu. Talk about next week on Wednesday. If you haven't subscribed, ndamboti ndirimu road to 10,000. Please subscribe. Send your stories about anything. I'd love to hear them and read them. And if you have a story you'd like to share on the podcast, I'm open to interviewing my My audience, my friends, you. I'm open to interviewing you. So please feel free to share whatever story that you'd like to share. My email address is withlove@panashekimberley@gmail.com. And I'm working on a WhatsApp number, so I'll keep you posted on that. But until next Wednesday, where we have a very lovely guest who has a very lovely story, goodbye for now.